Do you know what your state requires for your annual report? If you're not sure about that, don't worry, you're not alone. Most business owners have no clue, and that's exactly why I made this video. In the next few minutes, we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of annual report requirements by state. You'll learn exactly what you need to file, when you need to file it, and how much it's going to cost you. And to help you get started, I've put together a free LLC guide that you can download now at llcblueprint.com/free guide. Plus, if you're ready to set up your LLC, I highly recommend Northwest Registered Agents. They'll handle everything for you for just $39. For your convenience, I put all the links down in the description of this video, so go ahead and check them out. And before we move on, please know that I earn a small commission if you choose to shop through my links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps me support my channel. So with that in mind, let's dive right in. All right, so we've talked about why knowing your state's annual report requirements is crucial. But let's take a step back for a second. What exactly is this annual report thing anyway? Let's say you've got your business up and running. Things are going great, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Then, one day, out of the blue, you get a letter saying your company doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, you heard that right. Your business, the one you poured your heart and soul into, is suddenly gone. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, that's what can happen if you ignore your annual report. But why is it such a big deal? Well, let's break it down. So, an annual report is basically a yearly check-in with the state. It's your way of saying, hey, I'm still here, still doing business, and here's what's changed. It's like a status update for your business, but instead of posting it on social media, you're sending it into the government. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that doesn't sound too bad. What's the big deal? Well, each state has its own rules for what goes into this report. It's not just a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Some states want a ton of information, while others are pretty chill about it. Some want you to file every year, others every 2 years. And don't even get me started on the fees. They are just all over the place. But here's why it matters. This report is how the state keeps tabs on all the businesses operating within its borders. It's how they make sure you're playing by the rules, paying your taxes, and generally being a good corporate citizen. Plus, it's a way for potential customers or partners to get some basic info about your company. Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, another thing I have to worry about. But here's the thing. Understanding what an annual report is and why it's important is the first step in making sure you don't end up in that nightmare scenario we talked about earlier. Now that we've got the basics down, let's dive into the real challenge: navigating the patchwork of state requirements. Ever wondered why entrepreneurs call this the Wild West of business compliance? Well, we're about to find out. Let's play a little game I like to call Guess the State Requirements. I'm gonna throw out some rules and you try to guess which state they belong to. All right, ready? Here's the first one. $300 flat fee due on June 1st. Any ideas? Well, that's gonna be Delaware, guys. Known for being business friendly, but they sure don't mess around with their annual report fees. All right, next one. How about $60 online filing due by the end of your anniversary month? Any ideas? Washington. See what I mean by Wild West? It's like every state decided to make up their own rules without checking what their neighbors were doing. Now, let's take a look at a few more examples. In Florida, corporations have to file by May 1st and pay $150. LLCs, they're looking at $138. Miss that deadline and you're facing late fees and maybe even losing your business altogether. New York likes to keep things interesting. They've got this thing called a biennial statement. That means you only have to file every 2 years. Sounds great, right? Well, don't get too excited. Corporations pay $9, but LLC are on the hook for $25. And you've got to remember to do it by the end of the month you were incorporated in. Now, Texas likes to mix things up even more. If you're running a corporation, you've got an annual report due on May 15th. The good news? If you file online, it's free. The bad news, LLCs don't have to file an annual report, but they do need to submit a franchise tax report by the same date. Talk about confusing. So, what's the deal with all these different rules? Well, each state has its own way of keeping tabs on businesses. They want different information, they have different deadlines, and they charge different fees. It's like 50 different puzzles you have to solve, and the pieces don't even fit together. Okay, so now that we've seen how complex these state requirements can be, you're probably feeling a bit overwhelmed. But here's the thing. What if filing your annual report could be as easy as ordering pizza online? Stick around because I'm about to reveal a step-by-step process that'll make you wonder why you ever stressed about this in the first place. All right, so let's break down this annual report filing process into bite-sized pieces. First things first, you need to gather all your business info. We're talking about your business name, address, officer names, the basics. It's like prepping ingredients before cooking a meal. You want everything laid out and ready to go. Now, once you've got all your info together, it's time to choose how you want to file. Most states these days let you do it online, which is a game changer. It's faster, easier, and you can do it in your pajamas if you want to. No judgment here. But if you're old school and prefer paper, that's usually an option too. Just keep in mind it might take longer and cost a bit more. Next up is the part everyone loves, paying the fee. I know, it's not exactly fun, but it's gotta be done. The tricky part here is that fees vary by state. Some states charge a flat fee, others base it on your business type or size. So make sure you know exactly what you owe before you hit that submit button. And here's a pro tip. Set up a reminder for yourself about a month before your filing deadline. This gives you plenty of time to gather your info, double check everything, and file without rushing. Now, let's talk about what happens after you file. In most cases, you'll get a confirmation right away if you file online. If you filed by mail, you might need to wait a few weeks for confirmation. Either way, make sure you keep that confirmation safe. It's proof that you've done your due diligence. But what if you realize you made a mistake after filing? Don't panic. Most states have a process for amending your annual report. It might involve a small fee, but it's way better than the alternative of having incorrect information on file. Speaking of which, you might be wondering what happens if you mess up or forget to file altogether. Well, that's where things can get a bit sticky. We're talking late fees, penalties, and in some extreme cases, your business could even be dissolved. But don't worry, we'll dive into that in more detail in just a minute. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of what happens when you drop the ball on annual reports. Ever wondered how a simple piece of paperwork could make or break your business? And the answer might surprise you. And it's not just about fines and penalties. Let's talk about the consequences of not filing your annual report. It's not a pretty picture, guys. We're talking about some serious stuff here. First off, you're looking at late fees. These can add up fast, and before you know it, you're shelling out way more than you would have if you just filed on time. But that's just the beginning. If you keep ignoring those reminders, your business could lose its good standing with the state. Now, you might be thinking, so what? It's just a status, right? Wrong. Losing your good standing can mess with your ability to operate legally. It can affect your relationships with other businesses, banks, and even potential customers. Nobody wants to work with a company that can't keep its paperwork straight. And if you think that's bad, hold on. In some extreme cases, your business could actually be dissolved. Yeah, you heard that right. All that hard work, all those sleepless nights building your company, poof, gone because of a missed filing. But hey, don't panic. There are ways to stay on top of this stuff and keep your business in the clear. First tip, mark those deadlines on your calendar. I'm talking big red circles, pop-up reminders, the works. Make it impossible to forget. Set multiple reminders if you need to, one a month before, a week before, and then one day before. Second tip, use technology to your advantage. There are tools out there that can help you manage all this compliance stuff. We're talking about software that keeps track of your deadlines, sends you reminders, and even helps you file. It's like having a personal assistant for your annual reports. And here's my last piece of advice. If you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what professional services are for. They can guide you through the process and make sure you're hitting all the right notes. So, annual reports might seem like a hassle, but they're super important for keeping your business legit. Think of it as a yearly checkup for your company. A little effort now can save you a ton of headaches later. Now, if all this talk about deadlines and state requirements has your head spinning, don't worry. I've got a solution for you. Northwest registered agents can handle all this stuff for you. They're offering a great deal for you guys, where for just $39, you can form your LLC. Plus, they'll also take care of your annual report filing if you want to avail of that specific service. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description of this video and let Northwest take the stress out of your annual reports. Trust me, your future self will thank you. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.